In this week's Midweek Motivation, we're talking about 9 tips that can help us make carnivore a life change and not just a temporary diet. Welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Karyn, and my husband Dan and I are on a personal health journey so that we can be healthy and happy in our retirement. I am on a carnivore way of eating, and Dan is on a ketovore way of eating. Now, if you are like me and you have tried what seems like everything under the sun to get healthy and lose weight, you know that it's difficult to make it a life change. I am the classic yo-yo dieter. I'm up, I'm down, I'm up, I'm down, I'm trying this, I'm trying that. This time I want to make it stick. This time I want it to be a life change. So let's just get right into what are these 9 tips I have to make it a life change. And I did do some research on this, so I'm hoping that it helps both of us. The first tip is to give yourself some credit. Dr. Berry had a really good post on his community tab this week that I noticed, and it really made me stop and think. He said, falling off the wagon is not some kind of judgment on how weak you are, but rather it's a statement about how strong the addiction is. So make no mistake, we are fighting an addiction that's been going on for decades, with processed foods and sugar. And it is a fight. And honestly, I think that it can be worse than something like drinking alcohol or smoking. Those are things that you can abstain from, but you cannot abstain from eating. And I think that's what makes weight loss so difficult a lot of the times. You have to be around food, and you can't not consume it. When struggles come along and maybe you do something you know you shouldn't have, make like a duck, let it roll off your back and get right back on the next meal. The second tip, don't be so strict that your world comes crashing down if you happen to eat a little something that's not on your plan. Don't sweat the 2% of your diet that is not carnivore. Rejoice in the 98% that is. This way of eating has to be sustainable for you, and only you know what can make it sustainable. So if you have that little bit of heavy cream or milk in your coffee in the morning, or you eat some spices on your meat, or even if you go out with friends and end up eating a meal you shouldn't have eaten, don't beat yourself up about it. Don't focus on that slip. I need to get off the yo-yo diet roller coaster, and so do you. Tip number 3, have a support system in place, or start putting one in place right now. And chances are, if you are here, you have already found an online support system. But maybe you need a little bit more. Maybe you need a good friend that will talk you down from ordering a pizza when you get a craving. Maybe you need someone that'll talk you down from eating a package of Oreo cookies, or having too much to drink at the bar. Whatever it is, you need to find a support system that's going to help you in the times that you really need it. So if you have a friend or a spouse or someone who you can call or text or talk to when you're really feeling weak, that's a big deal. And don't be afraid to use it. Don't be afraid to vocalize that you're having some struggles and you're having some issues. We all have them. And we all need support in whatever it is that we're working on in our lives. But also you need your support system to be someone who's going to cheer you on when you've had successes, someone that you can share that with as well. And maybe it's 2 different people, who knows? But online is a good place to start because the community for carnivore online, is particularly on YouTube, is fantastic. So make a comment if you're struggling. Someone will answer you. The 4th tip is to pace yourself, especially if you're coming onto this way of eating and you have no experience at all with low carb eating. It can be pretty daunting, especially due to the fact that the carnivore diet is pretty much 0 carbohydrates is the goal. And if you're coming from the standard American diet, the SAD diet, it's going to be even harder. It's so much better to ease into it slowly and have an extended period of success than it is to try and go full bore and strict from the very beginning, end up crashing and burning and then falling away from it and going back to the SAD diet. So maybe you want to start by cutting out certain foods. Maybe you go down to the level of, I'm not having any pizza this week. At one time I thought maybe I would eliminate food that's white. So like, sugar, flour, rice, all those white carbs that aren't really good for you, potatoes. So whatever it is that's going to help you pace yourself, do a little bit at a time. Your results might be a little bit slower, but you are setting yourself up for so much more success by doing it that way. The 5th tip I have is to keep an eye out for new ways of doing things. This will help keep your meal plan fresh. So if you can try a new recipe, or maybe try an unusual meat that you've never had, or start a new activity. Maybe you want to start walking in a new place. Maybe you want to start walking with a friend. Seek out new people on places like YouTube to follow. Join a Facebook group. Just keep it fresh so it doesn't get stale. Always consider new avenues to learn about the carnivore diet. The 6th tip is consider some type of self-help reminder. Carry it with you on a card, in your wallet. There will be times when the people that you rely on for support, especially if your support is mainly online, are not going to be available for you at that moment. So if you can carry some kind of self-help card with you that has motivational things on it for you, things that pertain to you, make it something that hits home with you. For example, maybe it's just a simple statement, keep it carnivore. So if you feel like going off your meal plan, give yourself permission to eat more, but make sure it's something that's carnivore. Maybe you don't eat much cheese, but you're just feeling like you need to cheat. Well, go ahead. Just have more cheese that you're not supposed to have. It makes you feel like you're cheating, but you're really not. Here's another one. Only I can change my life. I am in control every day. Make sure that you're reminding yourself that you should not relinquish any kind of mental control over your life to something like food or another person. You're in control, and you're in control every day. You are the one making the decisions. And one more, hard work today provides lasting benefits later. Do the work. That on a card would really motivate me because I want all of those lasting benefits. The 7th tip is have a strategy for stressful times. A lot of us that are really overweight, we use eating as a way to cope with different things. You could be an emotional eater or you could be a stress eater. So at those times, we are weaker. So have a strategy already in place for when something stressful happens. Know that you're going to take an extra walk that day, or you're going to do a little bit of weightlifting, or you're going to call a friend to catch up. Anything that will help reduce your stress. I was watching Dr. Sean O'Mara, and he was saying about our cortisol levels, which is our stress hormone, that if something happens and you are starting to feel stressed, immediately drop and do some push-ups or do something physical, some kind of physical activity, because it helps to drop that cortisol and helps you get out of that fight or flight mode that you're going into. So have a plan for stress. The 8th thing, if you haven't been doing it already, you need to look into what are the restaurants around you that would be carnivore friendly. There's always going to be some time when you want to meet someone at a restaurant to have dinner, or you need to go out to a celebration for work and it's at a restaurant. There's always going to be some time that you're going to be in a restaurant situation, and you need to know which restaurants are carnivore friendly. If you don't know if the restaurant you're meeting at is carnivore friendly, find the menu online and know exactly what you're going to order before you even get there. And I think it would be really great if you know of restaurants that are carnivore friendly that are like chains. Please leave them down in the comments, because a lot of people are probably looking to see, what restaurants are carnivore friendly around them. So if you have a restaurant that you've discovered is carnivore friendly, please leave a comment on this video so we can all share that information. The last tip, the 9th tip that I have, is have a story that you can easily tell. Have it already in your head. So when you need to turn down the cake at the wedding, or you need to turn down the drinks at the party, you have your story all ready to tell. It could be something simple like, I'm on a low-carb diet. And if you feel the situation warrants it and you want to go into a further explanation, know what you're going to say. Have a canned response ready for those types of situations so that it doesn't catch you off guard. Lastly, I just want to say, whatever steps that you take in the right direction are so much better than the standard American diet. You are fighting a strong addiction to processed foods and sugar. You are in control. You are the decision maker. No one else lives your life. You do. Don't let anything, any food, or anyone have your mental control. That's it for this week's midweek motivation. I will see you on Saturday for weight loss and wins. Have a great rest of your week.